April 8th at 1:47 a.m.
July 11th at 3:13 p.m.
June 27th, 2013 at 10:23 in the morning.
I remember they led us into a conference room and they gave us a box of tissues and they sat us down with a drawing of a normal heart and a drawing of what his heart looked like. And it turned out he was in heart failure. His heart was taking up his entire chest cavity. They weren't even sure if his lungs would be able to inflate. They told us that he had a heart defect called Epstein's anomaly, which is very rare. And they said it was going to be less than a 50% chance that he'd make it to the age of 5. And that was just a really tough blow. I'll remember that day until I die because it was so emotional. And at that moment, we had to step out and call our families and tell them that he might not make it at all. Sawyer was born. He immediately was in trouble because, like I said, he was in heart failure. His lungs were smashed. You know, they didn't think he would make it. We were allowed to actually bring Nolan, our older child, into the NICU to meet Sawyer because they didn't think he was going to come home with us. And then by some miracle, he just started turning around despite everything that they said would happen. And he got better and better. And we got out of the NICU and went home and had a couple normal months. But then things got really bad again, and he started having arrhythmia issues because it turns out he had another heart defect called WPW, and we watched him have to be cardioverted with electricity. You know, it's basically being defibrillated. We've watched them inject medication that stops his heart to try and reset those things. You know, they came out to me in a waiting room one day and said, "You need to call your family because we're trying to resuscitate him and it's not going well." You know, to have that said to you, you know, it's just, you don't get used to it. Those are the realities. It's not normal to walk into an ER and have people surge electricity through your child's body. He was 6 months old, no pain medication, and they just had to walk in and defibrillate him. That'll do something to you. It's just not normal to see. And it was very defeating. And I was just looking for support. So I didn't push it too hard, but then I found a group. And, you know, when you join these support groups, you introduce yourself and you talk about your child. And all these people, strangers, were begging me not to go through with transplant, to send our file to this physician, our surgeon, Dr. Durrani, at Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. And we sent it, and the surgeon called me back personally and said, "Please don't transplant your baby. Please bring him here. I can repair some of his defects and I can give him a great life. I'm fairly certain that I can really do this and I can really impact his life." We were elated. We had never, not once with Sawyer, heard such good news. Everything was doom and gloom with him from the moment he was born, from before he was born. We took a chance on him and he gave him the most beautiful repair. He was supposed to be transplanted. Everything was sad. And he just breathed new life into him. And we didn't think it was even possible. So we were super grateful. Everything really turned around after that for Sawyer. And we stopped talking about if he makes it to school. It was when he makes it to school.
We didn't know each other all right as our kids were born, but just as our paths kept crossing through different hospitalizations in St. Louis and in Tulsa, and the next thing you know, we're super close despite our distance.
We've all got great friends outside of each other, you know, that have been good support system, but having these two ladies beside me that know the fears of having a child with heart problems, yeah, it's special.
You know, we found this beautiful friendship and it blossomed and it was raw and real and special. We started realizing that our boys could have a friendship and they became the three musketeers of the hospital.
Well, we kept each other sane the last 6 years because I can't imagine going through everything that we went through without having their support.
My name is Courtney Allen. My son is Kason Allen. He was born with HLHS. Now he has had heart transplant.
My name is Jenny Carter, and I'm the mother of Colton Carter. He was born with several different defects, and he had a heart transplant at 3 months old, and his beautiful heart gave us 5.5 years with him, and we lost him in February 28th, 2019.
Kaysen and Sawyer got to go to heart camp this summer, Camp Strong. It's for heart kids and oncology kids, and it's ran by ICU nurses, physicians, and it was so special because they got to be real kids, normal kids with each other. The only thing that was missing was Colton was supposed to be there. We had t-shirts made for Kaysen and Sawyer that had a little Captain America type star on it, and the back said, "Colton has our back." And I told Jenny, I said, we said they were going to go to camp together, and I'll have Sawyer carry Colton on his back because it's the only way we can do it. You know, we'll tell Star's survival story, and we always make sure to say that we are the lucky ones. We're always trying to advocate and bring awareness to congenital heart disease. We need all the support we can, even from non-heart families. Actually, it's almost sometimes more important for non-heart families to care about our cause, because our heart families are so bogged down with their medical needs, their medical expenses. So a lot of the forward progress that we have has to come from the outside. Sawyer's in great health. We're just so lucky, despite all of the hardships and all of the terrible days and memories and things that he went through. So many have it worse. Sawyer was gifted time. He was given the gift of time, and we were too.